Hi, Mi. So you're gonna be having your full stage revision of stage 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. It's been a while though, so are you ready?
Okay.
Good. All right, my first question here is all about social. What do we mean by a person's social life? What do we mean by a person's social life? By a
By a
person's
person's
social
social
life,
life,
we
we
mean what they
mean what they
do
do
with their
with their
friends,
friends,
etc., in their free
etc., in their
time
free time
outside work.
outside work.
Yep. Take a look at my picture here. This one. So, what part of the table is? What part of the table is? That part
That
of the
part of the
table
table
is the
is the
edge.
edge.
Yep. Can we balance a coin on its edge? Can we balance a coin on its edge? Yes, we can
Yes, we
balance
can
a
balance
coin
a coin
on its
on
edge.
its edge.
Can we cut bread with a thick edge of a knife? Can we cut bread with a thick edge of a knife? No, we can't
No, we
cut
can't
bread
cut bread
with a thick
with a thick
edge
edge
of a
of a
knife.
knife.
Yep. What does the verb to edge mean? What does the verb to edge mean? The verb
The
to
verb
edge
to edge
means
means
to move
to move
slowly
slowly
and carefully
and carefully
towards
towards
somewhere.
somewhere.
Yep. Why does a car have to edge forward slowly when turning from a side street into a main street? Why does a car have to edge forward slowly when turning from a side street into a main street? A car
A
has to
car has to
edge
edge
forward
forward
slowly
slowly
when turning
when turning
from
from
a side
a
street
side
into
street into
a main
the
street
main street
so that the
so
other
that the other
cars
cars
have enough
have enough
time
time
to see
to
what it
see what
intends
it
doing.
intends doing.
Yep. What if factories put food in tins? What if factories put food in tins? Factories
Factories
put
put
food
foods
in
in
tins
tins
to preserve
to
it.
preserve it.
What metal is a tin made of? What metal is a tin made of? A tin is
A
made
tin
of
is made of
tin or
tin or
aluminum.
aluminum.
Yep. On average, how many times do you go out socially? On average, how many times do you go out socially? On
On
average,
average,
I go out
I go out
socially
socially
twice a week.
twice a week.
Yep, that one. So, how do most adjectives of two syllables which have the stress in the first syllable form their comparatives and superlatives? How do most adjectives of two syllables which have the stress on the first syllable form their comparatives and superlatives? Most
Most
adjectives
adjectives
of two
two
syllables
syllables
which have the
which have the
stress
stress
on the first
on the first
syllable
syllable
form their
form their
comparatives
comparatives
and
and
superlatives by
superlatives by
er
er
and
and
est.
est.
Give me some examples. Just give me some examples. Just narrow,
Narrow,
narrower,
narrower,
narrowest.
narrowest.
Happy,
Happy,
happier,
happier, happiest.
happiest. Okay, so which adjectives of two syllables form their comparatives and superlatives by using more than and the most? Again, which adjectives of two syllables form their comparatives and superlatives by using more than and the most? The
The
adjectives of
adjectives of
two
two
syllables
syllables
which form
which
their
form their
comparatives,
comparatives,
not compared, comparatives and
comparatives and
superlatives by
superlatives
using
by
more
using
than,
more than,
by using
by
more
using
than,
more than,
and the most
and the
are
most are
those ending
those ending
in ful
ful
or full
or full
or
or
less
less
or less.
or less.
Give me some examples, please. Give me some examples, please. Careful,
Careful,
more
more
careful,
careful,
the most
the most
careful.
careful.
Useless,
Useless,
more
more
useless,
useless,
the
the
most
most
useless.
useless.
Yep. So how do you form the comparatives and superlatives of adjectives made from the participles of verbs? How do you form the comparatives and superlatives of adjectives made from the participles of verbs? We form the
We form the
comparatives,
comparatives,
form the
form the
comparatives
comparatives
and
and
superlatives of
superlatives of
adjectives
adjectives
made
made
from the
from the
participles
participles
of
of
verbs by
verbs
using
by
more
using
than
more than
and the
and the
most.
most.
Give me some examples. Give me some examples, please. Exciting,
Exciting,
more
more
exciting,
exciting,
the most
the most
exciting.
exciting.
Tired, more
Tired, more
tired,
tired,
the
the
most
most tired.
tired. Yep. If you're not sure how to form the comparative superlative of an adjective, what is it best to do? If you are not sure how to form the comparative superlative of an adjective, what is it best to do? If you are
If
not
you are
sure
not sure
how to
how to
form
form
the
the
comparative
comparatives and
and superlative
superlative
of an
of an
adjective,
adjective,
it's best
it's
to
best
use more
to use
than
more than
and the
and the
most.
most.
How do you form the comparatives and superlatives of adverbs that are made by adding ly or ly to an adjectives? Again, how do you form the comparatives and superlatives of adverbs that are made by adding ly to an adjective? We form the
We form the
comparatives
comparatives
and
and
superlatives of
superlatives of
adverbs that
adverbs
are
that
made
are
by
made by
adding
adding
ly
ly
to an
to
adjective
an
by
adjective
using
by
more than
using more than and
the
the
most.
most.
Yep, give me some examples. Give me some examples. Please. Happily, more
Happily, more
happily,
happily,
the
the
most.
most happily.
Loudly, more
Loudly, more
loudly,
loudly,
the
the
most
most loudly.
loud. Yep. What kind of people do you have most sympathy for? What kind of people do you have most sympathy for? The kind of
The kind of
people
people
I have
I
most
have
sympathy
for
for are those who have
those who have
a serious
illness,
etc.
etc.
Yep. Do you reckon you could jump up and touch the ceiling? Well, you do reckon you could jump up and touch the ceiling? No, I don't reckon.
I don't reckon.
Reckon I could
I
jump up
could jump
and
up and
touch the
touch
ceiling.
the ceiling.
Yep. Which airline do you reckon is the biggest in the world at the moment? Which airline do you reckon is the biggest in the world at the moment? I reckon American Airlines is the biggest airline in the world at the moment. Yep. Can the weather sometimes be horrible in the middle of winter? Can the weather sometimes be horrible in the middle of winter? Yes, the weather.
Yes, the weather
Can sometimes be
can
horrible
sometimes
be horrible
horrible
in the middle of
in the
winter.
middle of winter.
Yep, winter. Do you feel any anxiety about the future of the world? Do you feel any anxiety about the future of the world? Yes, no.
Yes.
I feel some
I feel
anxiety
some anxiety
about the future
about
of the world.
of the world.
Why is a shopkeeper always anxious to please his customers? Why is a shopkeeper always anxious to please his customers? A shopkeeper is always anxious to please his customers so that they will come back again. Yep, come again. Another. What's your most valuable personal possession? What's your most valuable personal possession? My most valuable personal possession is my watch. Okay. Another. Supposing you could entertain a famous person at your house. Wow. Either a great figure in history or someone alive today. Who would you choose? Supposing you could entertain a famous person at your house, either a great figure in history or someone alive today. Who would you choose? Supposing I could entertain a famous person at my house, either a great figure in history or someone alive today. I choose
you.
Really? Thank you. Yeah, what do you mean by the background of a picture or a photograph like me right now, right? So what do you mean by the background of a picture or a photograph? By the background of a picture or a photograph, we mean the part which is behind the main subject. Yep, when students apply to go to university, are they asked questions about their personal background? When students apply to go to university, they ask questions about the personal background. Yes, when students apply to go to university, they are asked questions about their personal background. Yep, what kind of activities do you apply your energy to most? What kind of activities do you apply your energy to most? The kind of activities I apply my energy to most are studying English, working, etc. Does the law of the land apply to everybody? Does the law of the land apply to everybody? Yes, the law of the land applies to everybody. Do you know what you have to do to apply for a new passport? Do you know what you have to do to apply for a new passport? Yes, I know.
Yes, I know.
What I have to
What
do
I have to do
to apply for
to
a new
apply
passport.
for a new passport.
Give me a sentence with the word highly, please. Give me a sentence with the word highly. It's highly probable.
Probable
That the Browns,
that the Browns
won't come today.
won't come today.
Yep, name a profession that is both highly respected and highly paid. Name a profession that is both highly respected and highly paid. A profession that's both highly respected. That's both highly respected and highly paid is a doctor. Which is one of the most ancient civilizations in the history of the world. Which is one of the most ancient civilizations in the history of the world. What are the most ancient civilizations in the history of the world? Is the Egyptian and civilization, the Babylonian civilization, etc., etc. It sounds like baby Babylonian. So how many degrees are there in a right angle? Yeah, if you could have a right angle. How many degrees are there in a right angle? There are 90 degrees in a right angle. What do you think the temperature is today in Japan? What do you think is the temperature today? I think the temperature it's about 11 degrees. 11 degrees centigrade today. If a student gets an A grade, wow, in an exam, is that a good result or a bad result? If a student gets an A grade in an exam, is that a good result or a bad result? If a student gets an A grade in an exam, that's a good result. Exactly. Give me a sentence with the word somewhat. Give me a sentence with the word somewhat. I'd say he was somewhat lacking in common sense. On average, are Scandinavian people somewhat taller than people in the rest of Europe? On average, are Scandinavian people somewhat taller than people in the rest of Europe? Yes, on average.
Yes, on average.
Scandinavian people are somewhat taller than people in the rest of Europe. Yeah, we are a little bit taller, Scandinavian. Another, give me a sentence with words at all, please. Give me a sentence with the words at all, please. It's very strange.
Very strange.
I've worked hard all
all day,
but don't feel
but
tired
don't feel tired
at all.
at all.
Well, so what does the idiom "why on earth" mean? What does the idiom "why on earth" mean? The idiom "why on earth" means a very strong form of why. Why? Give an example, please. Give an example, please. I just can't understand. Why on earth they got married if they don't like each other very much. Yep. How can we often use a noun as an adjective in English? How can I often use a noun as an adjective in English? We can often use a noun as an adjective in English by putting it immediately before another noun. Yep. Give me 3 examples. Window cleaner, cat basket, school bag. What's a water bottle? A water bottle is a bottle that's made to carry water. Yep. What kind of plate do we eat dinner from? We eat dinner from a dinner plate. Yep. Now that you are at this stage of your English studies, do you think you'll be able to travel abroad confident of making yourself understood in the language? Now that you are at this stage of your English studies, do you think you'll be able to travel abroad confident of making yourself understood in the language? Yes, no. Even though I'm at this stage of my English studies, I don't think I'd be able to travel abroad confident of making myself understood in the language. Yep. If a friend of yours wants to go to one cinema and you want to go to another and you can't agree about which to go to, what do you do? If a friend of yours wants to go to one cinema and you want to go to another and you can't agree about which to go to, what do you do? If a friend of mine wants to go to one cinema and I want to go to another and we can't agree about which to go to, we usually go our separate ways. Do you agree that life was better in the past than it is today? Do you agree that life was better in the past than it is today? No, I don't agree that life was better in the past than it is today. Would you agree to do an extra 3 hours of English today? Would you agree to do an extra 3 hours of English today? Yes, I'd agree to do an extra 3 hours of English today. Woo. Another, would you agree to a plan that might get you into trouble with the police? Would you agree to a plan that might get you into trouble with the police? No, I wouldn't agree to a plan that might get me into trouble with the police. When you don't agree with other people, what do you do? When you don't agree with other people, what do you do? When I don't agree with other people, I just keep quiet. What do you think ought to be done with drivers who don't take care whilst driving and consequently run people over? What do you think ought to be done with drivers who don't take care whilst driving and consequently run people over? I think that drivers who don't take care whilst driving and consequently run people over ought to be penalized. Yep. When you were a child, who took care of you when you were ill? When you were a child, who took care of you when you were ill? When I was a child. When I was a child, my mother took care of me when I was ill. Yep. If you went for a dinner at a friend's house but didn't care much for their food, would you still tell them it was good? Like, oh, if you went for a dinner at a friend's house but didn't take care much for the food, would you still tell them that it was good? Yes, no.
Maybe.
Yes, no. Yes, if I went for dinner at the friend's house, but didn't care much for the food, I'd still tell them it was good. I bet so. Okay, what does the expression "I dare say you're right" mean? What does the expression "I dare say you're right" mean? The expression "I dare say you're right" means I think you're probably right. What kind of jobs would you say require the most daring? What kind of jobs would you say require the most daring? I'd say the kind of jobs which require the most daring would be a detective, doctors, etc. Yep. So in dry countries like ours, do people try to conserve water as much as possible? In dry countries, do people try to conserve water as much as possible? Yes, in dry countries, people try to conserve water as much as possible. Well, when you eventually finish studying English, meme, do you think you'll be eager to start learning another language immediately? Well, when you eventually finish studying English, do you think you'll be eager to start learning another language immediately? Yes, no? No. When I eventually finish studying English, I don't think I'll be eager to start learning another language immediately. Why do we rub our hands together in cold weather? We don't have that, right? So why do we rub our hands together in cold weather? We rub our hands together in cold weather because it makes them warmer. Yep. How can you rub out a pencil mark on a piece of paper? How can you rub out a pencil mark on a piece of paper? We can rub out a pencil mark on a piece of paper by using a rubber. Yep, so that's going to be your last few questions here in your full stage revision stage 9, right? Thank you so much, Mia, for having this class with me. Have a good day.